And welcome to the Movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
I'm still confused about your wiring setup.
And I'm Ryan.
His parents didn't like him and gave him a really long name.
You have to have your TV on to hear things?
Yeah, don't you?
I can't wrap my head. Why?
Honestly, because I have everything fed into the TV, and then I have the one input from the TV coming out to my soundboard. So it's all... yeah.
Your TV is kind of acting like its own little amplifier or something in between.
Honestly, it's a splitter because I've got 4 things plugged into the TV, but I only have one output coming out to my mixing board.
Okay. All right. Now I understand.
Instead of buying a $30 splitter, I got a $500 television. See? That's smart.
It's a multitasker.
That's right. I'm just waiting for it to die. It's like 1 billion years old. So anyway, welcome to the Movie Madhouse. Ryan, how you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm so glad to be back.
Yes. What have you been up to since your last visit?
Just doing my 5 weekly podcasts, finishing up a short film. I'm now attending an MFA program in popular fiction in the fall. So, a lot, actually.
Wow. I asked the question anticipating, nothing. It's only been a month. But...
yeah, no, workaholism means I've always got a story to tell. I don't sleep much and I don't like myself, but I got stories.
This is awesome. Well, one of the stories I think we can, let out of the bag here right now. We've just confirmed you are one of our first guests for 2022 CK Expo.
Yeah.
I am excited.
The really cool thing is, and I'm going to ask you live on the air, can we show your short, Don't Sneeze, before the feature?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because we're working with the drive-in to try and set up something the night before. Because one of our other guests has a great movie that we're going to screen there as well. So... you are our first official announcement for 2022.
Yay! Take that, all you other stupid announcements.
Right? Thanks so much for doing it, buddy. I can't wait.
This will be a blast. Thanks for inviting me.
But tonight, we have our top 10 fights with Ryan. Yes. Great topic.
Yeah.
Thanks.
As I said earlier, I think I've forgotten more cool fight scenes than I can remember at this point.
Yeah, I know that there are going to be a bunch that I have just not remembered when it came to making this list.
Oh, yeah. You had said before about overlap. I don't think so. I'm with James. I don't think so. Maybe 1 or 2, because we're going to listen to everybody else's and going, oh, my God, that's right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going to throw this out there. 5. I'm saying James said 3. I'm saying 5.
Really?
Yes.
I'm going to say 2.
Okay.
I'm interested to know overlap because I was sick for a couple of years, so I missed most of high school. But it meant the only thing I could do is watch movies. So I went through 2 video stores in alphabetical order. So I am like a connoisseur of trash 90s and 80s cinema. So some might get weird, but most of them I think it could be. I don't know what a crossover will be. Yeah, I'll say 3. I think 3. I'll probably have matched with somebody else.
Yeah.
All right,
James. Awesome. This is going to be good. Okay. In that case, let's start our list. Ryan, what is your number 10 fight?
All right. I'm taking us all the way back to 2005 to the Jet Li action film Unleashed. I don't know if any of you have seen that.
Yeah.
But
it's my favorite Jet Li flick.
Oh, so good. So Jet Li plays basically a kid who was adopted by a gangster who murdered his mother. There's going to be some light spoilers, but I'm not going to spoil any of the big movie stuff. But the whole hook is that he was trained to become like an ultra killing machine if Bob, Oh, see, I forgot that we do that here. That's useful. But if Bob Hoskins basically keeps him around with a collar, and when he takes the collar off, Jet Li is an attack dog who just goes and beats the ever-loving crap out of people.
It's based on a story called Danny the Dog.
Yeah, and it's great. Jet Li, I watched some interviews with him where he talks about the fighting style of it, because dogs don't know how to fight groups. Dogs will fight one dog until they win, and then fight the next dog, and they built that into the style of the movie, and it's great. But partway through the movie, there's an amazing barbed wire match. I've got the YouTube links for all of these, so I can give these to you later, Mr.
Nice.
Bellamy, but it's known as No More Killing. The idea is Jet Li's character Danny has decided that he doesn't want to kill anymore, but he's been put into an underground fight ring where the matches are to the death. And it's the one time he tries not to kill someone, and it just means they start throwing weapons in the ring, and other fighters get cleared to go in and try to kill him until it's got, spears, there's a battle axe, there's a sledgehammer that all get mixed up. And it's in the bottom of basically a drained pool with barbed wire lining the walls.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It's been a long time since I watched that one, but I remember the one fight against the guy in the mask, and he just goes boom, boom, boom 3 times in the throat. Blood spurts out, and the guy falls down dead.
Yeah, that's a great one. The jewelry store fight is amazing, where they try to they manage to get Danny with his collar left on, so he's just standing in the corner while they try to kill Bob Hoskins. Oh, it's great.
See, my number 7 is the final fight of Unleashed.
Oh,
where he's taking on this a bald white dude who's I don't know what skill he's using, but it travels through an entire apartment building.
Yeah, that fight's great.
It to me, that is some of the best work I've ever seen because of all the environmental effects they were able to use.
That the brief part of it that's in a bathroom where it's just ultra cramped. It's like a 2 foot by 2 foot space, and they're just doing terrifying lightning fast combat. It's awesome.
Yep.
Ryan Haskell even says Unleashed is amazing, like Krav Maga.
Krav Maga. It's an
Maga.
Israeli martial art.
Okay, attack until dead, and go on to the next.
Yeah, Krav Maga. You assume your opponent is armed with a weapon, just at all times, and act as though that is true.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you won't be caught off guard, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. All right, Jason, what's your number 10?
My number 10, going way back to 2015. Remember the good old days? I'm going to go with the Hulk versus Hulkbuster in Avengers Age of Ultron.
That's good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Nice.
that's my number 5.
See, look at that. That crossover, baby.
That's technically the first one.
You're right. But just that wholesale collateral damage. But you really felt like you're watching the comic book come to life. Like it was the most comic book thing we'd ever seen.
Especially with the armor fist.
Go to sleep.
Yep, I was going to say, that is probably one of the best combat gifts of all time, is just go to sleep while he pneumatically hammers his head.
Yeah. And then when he gets back up, sorry.
Yeah.
That, and then throwing him through a building.
Yeah. How quickly, hey Jarvis, how quickly can we buy that building? We just did. Which means Jarvis was anticipating where he was going.
Jarvis is a smart little computer program.
I want Jarvis as a real estate agent.
Oh man, good pick. I'm a bit biased on that one though.
Yeah.
James, what's your number 10?
My number 10 is from 1989. It is the movie Cyborg, and the fight is between Gibson and Fender, Jean-Claude Van Damme and Vincent Klein. And you could count probably either the first time they fight or the last time they fight, but probably the last time. You just have half the time you have Van Damme doing these like big jumping spin kicks, and this big New Zealand-born Hawaiian raised Vincent Klein, and it's just having no effect on him whatsoever, and just beating him down. And then towards the end of the movie, they have the bigger fight where he ends up winning, but still, the guy is just cut all to hell. He's just huge, and I just think it's two great fight scenes, but I'll just kind of mash them together.
That works. I saw Cyborg once when it first came out, and I watched it on video, and I don't think I've seen it since.
I have seen it since because they put out another one of those Shout Factory collector's edition.
Okay.
I think it holds up.
Oh, snap! I forgot number 10.
Yeah,
that up.
Yeah. Cyborg isn't one that I've gone back to. It was never one of my favorites for Van Damme.
See, and sadly with Van Damme, other than Bloodsport, which I've seen a handful of times.
Oh, Bloodsport's timeless.
All the other movies for Van Damme, I watch them and then I forget about them.
Even Street Fighter?
I don't think I've seen Street Fighter.
How could you forget those buns in Time Cop? There's a few things about him that last forever.
Okay, valid point. Valid point. Greg says, "Hey everyone."
Hey Greg.
Hey Greg.
Hello.
Don't be so enthused, James.
Can this just be called the best of Rocky movies and Karate Kid? I don't think either one of those is on my list.
I was gonna say, let's see if they come up.
Well, my number 10 is I learned a new word to put this one on my list. This is from 1999, and it's a truel, which is a duel between 3 people. Qui-Gon Jinn, Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Darth Maul.
Oh, okay.
That truel, which is a new word, cool. Even now, I still watch it, and it's amazing to watch their choreography, the way they fling those things around. Just, yeah.
That is my number 7. That one makes my list. So we've got some crossover there because you know what? It may turn out we're all the same kind of nerd. But no, because for me, it tells a really good story between the way the balance of the fight is versus the two of them. It's got the really nice break with the pause and kind of the red shield walls, and then the throwdown with, I guess, spoilers for a movie in 1999. I'll wait for you to hit that button. Yeah. If you haven't seen Star Wars: The Phantom Menace, but like where Obi-Wan has to watch Qui-Gon die, and then we get the big throwdown. Like, it just does a really good job of kind of narrative storytelling, especially if you watch it on YouTube, where you don't have to watch the kid in the middle do like, I'm going to do a barrel roll. That's a cool trick.
Yes, that's the hardest part of watching that duel. Okay,
yeah,
but even
the score,
even the beginning part. Oh yeah, the Duel of the Fates. Oh, but even the beginning when they're on those multi levels. And they're jumping and falling, and in the opening, the doors open and there's Maul, drops
first
off
time with a double-bladed lightsaber.
Yes,
smashing the door close button with just a random crate.
See, yeah. Okay, and they only get better from here on my list. Number 9, Ryan, what you got?
All right, I'm taking us back to 2002 with Christian Bale in Equilibrium.
Nice.
Specifically, at the end of the movie, the hallway fight where he is told that he will, be captured without incident, and then they've got this great kind of needle drop where he's got an emotional tester on him, and then it goes from spiking rapidly to just totally still, and he says, "Not without incident," and it's like, oh shit, and then he just slaughters a hallway full of dudes. I tried to give myself some rules on best fight scenes, and I was like, okay, it can be one guy versus a million guys, or one guy versus someone else, so I don't drift into battle scenes. And I was like, man, this hallway fight is a lot of fun. It ends with one of the worst visual effects ever, but right up until then, it's gold.
But see, I think the key to having a great fight scene is a hallway, because there are so many that take place in a hallway.
Oh yeah, A to B.
So then you got step 1 done. Then you put Christian Bale in it. Well, obviously,
Yeah, that was maximum Bale back in those days.
Yes.
I need to revisit that one. That's one that I've only watched once, and for some reason haven't gone back, even though I know I liked it.
It is, I will say, shockingly late 90s. Like, I went back and it was more late 90s than I remembered it being with where it sits.
Okay.
Like, it's got that kind of like weird techno funk score that they kind of did for some reason as the knockoff of The Matrix. And it was a lot more stylized than I thought with a lot of the fighting, but there's still some really, really good stuff. And it's, Sean Bean and Christian Bale both at the top of their game right out the gate, which is a real charming run.
See, wait a second. There's another one up here. Greg said, "Oh, Rob, lost respect. Even James wouldn't miss those 2 movies in his bargain bin chest of movies." Oh, for Rocky and Karate Kid. They're good fight scenes, but they're not best. But this worries me.
Gotta respect the bargain bin.
Yes. His number 9 is Step Brothers. What epic fight.
Oh, well, after the one brother puts his ball sack on the other brother's drums, they fight through the whole house onto the lawn, and then they knock each other out simultaneously at the end of it in front of a screaming crowd. I don't know. Listen, it's not good that I know that answer, but I know it.
Okay, that is a fight scene. I stand corrected. Greg, your number 9 has been recognized.
For existing. I don't know if we're going to say it's top 10.
I got to acknowledge it. Yeah.
Jason, what's your number 9?
My number 9, going so far back in time to 2017. Going with the stairwell to exit fight in Atomic Blonde.
Oh.
That just first she takes out those 3 guys who just keep coming. And then all of a sudden she's got a real badass who's throwing her around like a rag doll, and she still gets past him too. Like, she takes a beating, but she delivers so much more.
Okay, that's 3. That's my number 2. I know I had 2 scenes picked out in that movie, and I didn't remember which one I picked, but it was that one. That's my number 2.
Such a badass scene.
So, if there's no more crossovers, Ryan and James win. We're on number 9. Maybe there'll be more than I ever anticipated.
Say, wait, was the bet between what the crossover was between you two or between me and the rest of the group?
Everybody.
All right. Yeah. Well, then we got it. I'm jumping up to 7. I'm going freaking high. I didn't know it was everybody. I'm in, but there's going to be at least 7.
That's what I said.
Okay. James, let's see which one you cross over with.
Okay. My number 9 is from 2012. The movie's Troy. The fight is Achilles versus Hector.
That's not on my list, but that is good.
I thought it was incredibly well choreographed sword fight with a spear thrown in.
Boom.
Yeah, no, and it was them at the top of the game. It was so promoted too. Like, every trailer was just like, wait for this. And then it was like, but it's in Act 2 for some reason. So enjoy the next 2 hours.
That was a good one, though. Yeah, you're right. I forgot about that one. Dang it.
I just remember the very first one with Brad Pitt.
Oh, versus Boagrius.
Yes.
He just jumps up, dead. Is there no one else?
That's the one I remember.
I just remember that during the advertising for that, Brad Pitt had to do a bunch of interviews, and all he talked about was how he tried to put on so much muscle to play Achilles, but he could only put on muscle in his ass. And I don't know why, but that haunts me. He said it in multiple interviews.
Those are obviously the answers he's saying at the end of the friggin' day. You know, that's when he's just, that's it. I've had
the last interview. Yeah, we're having fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, that would stick in your head. That's
Brad Pitt puts on a lot of ass muscle. That's something I get to know forever until I die.
Now I'll never unhear that. Okay. My number 9 is, I guess, another Truel. It's Riggs and Murtaugh versus Wah Sing Cool, which is Jet Li from Lethal Weapon 4.
That made my honorable mentions.
Yes.
Yeah.
That fight is like just the beginning when they're taking turns. You go ahead. It's just, it is so much fun to watch them get their ass kicked at the beginning.
Yeah, it's the opposite of the Fast and Furious theory of every hero needs to win every fight. They're like, what if we lose in the most entertaining way possible?
Yeah,
exactly. That's where Russell Crowe gets it. Are you not entertained? See?
Mm-hmm.
I got my ass kicked, but you had fun watching it.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay, where is my cursor? There it is. We go on to number 8 now. Ryan, what do you got?
All right, I'm taking us back to 2001 for Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, with Boromir's death through to Aragorn's duel with Lurtz, who is the giant red Saruman orc with the white hand on his face. We get a beautiful last stand. Boromir's doing the right thing after trying to screw over the hobbits, facing off with an army getting shot a bunch of times. And then we get a great, really, really good fight between Viggo Mortensen. That is pretty brutal. I mean, I always love when you see a bad guy get stabbed and he's like, nah, not done yet, and just like drags himself onto it screaming. And there's an interesting piece of trivia about it. Apparently, Viggo is one of the best natural sword fighters in Hollywood. The Swordmaster on Lord of the Rings said he was better than the majority of the stunt crew after a minimal amount of training.
Really?
And in that fight, there is a moment where the orc throws a dagger at Viggo, and Aragorn plucks it out of the air, just bats it aside with his sword. And apparently that's an accident. The stunt performer was not supposed to throw it directly at him and missed and threw it directly at him. And Viggo legitimately pegged it out of the air with the sword, and it made the film.
Wow.
So it's real cool.
That's two things I know that he did in that series then that was real.
Yeah.
The kicking of the helmet.
Yep, broke his foot.
Yes.
Yep.
It wasn't that one of the first things they started filming?
It was early, at least for Two Towers and the Return of the King.
Yeah.
It was Two Towers, yeah, but they shot them all like in sequence kind of thing. So it's also its own weird who did what when.
Yeah, true.
Well, just as a premonition for my number 8, it's Viggo as well, but we'll figure out from where in a second.
Eastern Promises?
Jason. Yes.
My number 8.
Go ahead, Jason.
We'll get to it. My number 8 from 2003. You know, a fairly new film. Going with the Crazy 88 part from Kill Bill Volume 1. God damn, I love that scene. I love that whole friggin' movie, of course, but that scene is just so amazingly violent. You know, crazy violent, but in such a naughty way, you know, like, I don't know. It feels wrong to like that much violence.
But at the same time, it's a beautiful cartoon. Like, there is so much spray and cheesiness and delightful camera action there. It's good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why it's my number 8. Just so the effect that one gives me, you can just picture where this is going for me.
Okay, I'm sensing a trend. Yes, right. James, what you got for number 8?
For number 8, my number 8 is from this year. Actually, it's a South Korean film called "Deliver Us from Evil," not to be confused with the Eric Bana movie from a few years ago. This one involves a character named In-nam fighting a character named Ray the Butcher. And you basically have a contract killer who's ex-military coming up against he's like a psychopath enforcer. Basically, the contract killer took out this guy who was like a serial killer of women for money, and he turns out that guy had a brother who's this guy called Ray the Butcher. So In-nam is going to Thailand to find his daughter who was kidnapped, and Ray is coming after him, and they're both using the same method to find them. So you get it at one point, he has a lead, and at this house where they keep all these kids, and his daughter is the only one that's not there because she's been taken away. So he turns down the hallway, and all of a sudden Ray appears at the other end. And it starts off as a machete fight, and they just fight all the way in the hallway and stuff. And it's just a very intense fight scene.
See, you had me at hallway. No, I'd never heard of that one.
No.
Neither had I until just a few, like say a month ago. But apparently it came out in South Korea last year and in North America, streaming this year.
Okay.
I think I will find it.
Yeah.
Well, my number 8, Ryan guessed it. It's from Eastern Promises. It's that bathhouse scene.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
See? Any man who will do that fight scene, yeah, he deserves it. There it is.
And there's a reason that's shaped like a dong.
Look, hey, let's not discuss Little Viggo, okay?
I would say medium Vigo at best.
Okay,
He's got nothing to be ashamed of.
All right. Yeah.
See? But yeah, that fight scene, that movie is great.
Yes.
And that fight scene, yeah, I'm going to leave it there because there's not much more I can say without sounding like gushing and, selling stock in the film. So we'll go to number 7 now. We know yours.
Yeah, we got there. Star Wars Phantom Menace, baby. Darth Maul.
Yep. And we know Jason's. The final fight from Unleashed.
Yep.
So, James, we're back to you again already.
Well, that was quick. Okay, mine number 7. 7, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. My number 7 is from 2018. It is Mile 22. It is Lee Noor, the guy who surrenders himself to the embassy, and Marky Mark is escorting. But before that, two hitmen come after him while he's handcuffed to the hospital bedpost, and he violently dispatches both of them.
Oh, really?
Very violently.
Mm-hmm.
It's the guy who played. Yeah, the guy from both Raid movies.
I've not.
I wonder if he'll come up on the list later.
I wonder.
Foreshadowing. Well, my number 7, I deviated just a bit because I had to put this on the list. Although technically it's a series, not a movie.
Oh.
But again, it's in a hallway. It's a prison hallway.
Is it the Daredevil?
It's
Punisher fight?
Punisher in the prison. It had to be on this list.
That is a good fight. That is a legit good fight.
Yes, it is. It's an honorable mention for me because it's not a film.
I watch that every once in a while when I'm writing stuff where I'm just like, I need to see something hardcore.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still have to check out season 2 and 3, I guess.
Yes, absolutely. Just for the Punisher in season 2 alone, you have to watch.
Oh, that show, yeah. When you hit Punisher season 2, the whole show just elevates so much from the first season, I find.
And we're getting more.
What?
They recently said that they're distinctly looking at getting Bernthal back to continue.
Oh, good, because I loved his Punisher series, man. That's my favorite Marvel show.
It may be getting a comeback.
That would be nice, but sadly, I'm not going to hold my breath just because. Well, no, you never know with Disney.
Exactly.
There's a pandemic. I don't know anything. Do you know what? I like John Bernthal, though. I want to watch him punch people.
Exactly. All right, let's jump to number 6. Ryan, what do you got?
All right, I'm taking us back to 2014 for Kingsman Secret Service for the church fight. When they send our debonair super spy into a southern church, and then just the bad guy cranks on his violence chips, and we just watch, Oscar winner Colin Firth slaughter an entire church full of people in a blank-faced psychopathic rage to Freebird. It is a majestic combination of camera moves. They do some cheatery stuff, but they go along with the idea of it being a one-shot take, which is a lot of fun. And with their use of kind of the stunts and speed-ups and slowdowns and cutting away to Samuel L. Jackson's character, who is made nauseous by violence, which is such a funny thing to have a villain in an action movie be. Just a blast.
Especially him.
Well, that's my number 1.
Oh,
really?
That is my number 1. I revisit that scene alone unhealthily.
Have you seen the Family Guy parody of it?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh yeah, Chris and Meg end up picking a fight with a crowd inside the cafeteria at school, and they do the entire church fight from start to finish.
Okay,
yeah, and then later on in the episode, Brian tries to pick a fight with the crowd, and they start Freebird again, and then Brian just gets his ass fucking kicked right out the gate. It was instant.
I'm looking for that.
Oh,
I'm looking for that. But the fact that you mentioned Samuel Jackson's list, remember our list from a couple months ago of weird off roles for big actors? That was on my list.
Yeah, Sam Jackson in a violence phobic role.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's my number 1.
Good call.
Very that one.
Call. Well, what's your number 6 then, Jason?
My number 6 from 2014 Starring Aiko Yue, I'm going with the kitchen fight from the Raid 2. Now, this scene is, these guys are moving so fast and so quick, where these hook blade things.
That's my number one. Rama versus the assassin. Yeah. That entire fight, that's my number one. It's the greatest action movie ever made, and that's the best fight scene ever made, in my opinion.
No, I don't disagree. That I'm telling you, that how quickly it moves, and it's brutal. It's brutal, especially the finish. So
it's buckets of blood.
At least buckets.
Watch Raid 2. I've not watched it.
What?
I'm gonna be honest. Started it, turned it off. Just got too fucking bored right at the gate. It's just a long intro.
I will admit, take the Raid and add an hour of story to it, and that's what you have the Raid 2. But it is really good.
Mm-hmm. I'll just fast forward through it. I'll dive back in. They're worth it.
Mike Nada's got a good one. Hi everyone. Transporter, the oil fight.
Oh yeah, with the spiked bicycle pedals.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I made my honorable mentions.
I forgot about Transporter. I did.
That's been a long time since I watched that movie.
All right, James, what's your number 6?
My number six from 2012, Brian Mills versus Zuko. This is from Taken 2. When he gets the Albanians coming after him, and so when he gets down to the end where he's going after the main bad guy, his henchman Zuko stops him, and this is the first time at this point the 2 Taken movies where you get someone who's Brian Mills' match, where is able to stand toe to toe with him.
There's a lot of movies I haven't watched because I haven't watched Taken 2. I've watched Taken, but after that it's bad parenting, and I don't want to promote that. So,
you can stop after Taken 2. Taken 3 isn't bad; it just doesn't follow the same formula. But Taken 2, I thought, was just as good as Taken 1.
I think Taken 3 is also the one that's PG-13, right? Because they wanted to open it up so it's a lot less violent.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But
I think so. I think 14A here, but yeah.
You can't go back on ratings like that. If you've got a series that's all R.
They did that exact thing with the Expendables. The first one was 18A, second was 14A, third was PG.
Yeah, it's because they wanted Chuck Norris, and Chuck Norris won't star in anything with a higher rating. It can't have swearing or other things. So it was just because they put Chuck Norris in the movie. And guys, I don't like Chuck Norris that much. Give me my swears.
Tell Chuck Norris. Well, my number 6 from 2009, and it's the opening fight in the best graphic novel adaptation I've seen, The Watchmen. So you got the versus the Masked Intruder.
Yes, I was going to say who the Masked Intruder was when it was on my list, but yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can if you want, because we have that big sign.
Yes, Ozymandias.
That's right. But again,
that was the butler, right?
The butler did it.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, that's why he got his own movie. That the one with Oprah in it, The Butler.
Yes. See, he did it.
Lee Daniels, The Butler.
That was his name. The butler's name. Number 5, Brian. What do you got?
All right, 1995's First Night is where I'm heading, all the way back to the old stuff. This is definitely going to be spoilers because it's the end of the movie. So hit that flashing thing that vaguely makes sense for a live stream.
Especially for a podcast.
There we go. For a movie that came out in 1995 that most of you will not even have heard of. It was a retelling of the Arthurian legend with Sean Connery playing King Arthur and Richard Gere playing Lancelot. The fight is specifically at the end. It's Lancelot versus Maligant and kind of the whole battle that happens around it. The idea is traditionally, Arthur's getting married to, I think Guinevere is her name. I can't remember. She doesn't have that much agency in the movie, but hey, she tries. It was the 90s. she starts to have an affair with Lancelot. Then there's somebody invading, and Arthur decides to put them on trial. And then the bad guys storm in, and Lancelot, who has been basically a brilliant swords fighter, who would go around and just do like tricks. He'd be the guy who'd go into a village and be like, "Everyone fight me, and I get all the money if I beat all of you." And then finally, like, learned honor and whatever, and was ready to die. And then Arthur just gets fucking killed. Sean Connery goes down, and it becomes open war in Camelot, and it's just Lancelot and Maligant both going at each other as kind of the two best swordsmen in the kingdom in the midst of the battlefield. It's a real good fight.
I gotta admit, I have not seen it since it came out. I should revisit that.
Yeah, it's long, but it's better than you'd think it is.
I think it was the length that turned me off originally.
That would be correct. That you will feel the same way. It has a Bryan Adams theme song.
I can watch Three Musketeers if I want a Bryan Adams theme song.
Oh, there's so many.
Or Robin Hood. Yeah, or good pick though. Very good. I completely forgot about that movie.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jason, number 5.
My number 5, going to 2019, the good old days. With the glass wall fight from John Wick 3 Parabellum.
Nice.
Just so the whole John Wick series has been so original, such a breath of fresh air to the action genre, just for all the amazing stunt choreography they're doing in these fights. But this scene in particular, because of the glass and the reflections, and they were able to play with all that aspect of it, just heightens the effect even more. And it just gets brutal, and well, it doesn't end entirely well.
I still haven't watched 2 or 3. I rewatched John Wick, and it left me the same it did originally. It's a great action movie, but that's it. Like, it's
dude, you really should. Number 2 really like blows open that world for us. And then it just keeps getting bigger, and it's fascinating.
I will say, like, 1 is pretty arguably perfect. 2, for me, was a movie made for people who are like, did you like the coins about 1? Because 2 is the coins movie, and then 3 is the like, oh yeah, and we do action all the time too. And I was like, I am back. yes, murder. But definitely worth a ride, especially with all 3. Now that if you don't like 2, you've got 3 to dive right into, which is a blast. There's really no reason not to keep watching.
I still say 2's the best, and you get to see him kill people with a pencil.
Make a top 10 list from the Wick series. There's only 3.
No,
unless he means
scenes.
Fight scenes from the Wick series.
Trying to rate
gotcha.
every fight scene.
I will say in Parabellum, my wife and I both agreed it's the only interesting knife fight we've ever seen. I feel like movies are, if you watch 2 people take out knives, you're like, oh, it's going to be weird, bad feinting, and awful choreography. And in 3, it's just like every knife in a knife store comes into a fight, and it's amazing.
Yeah, when they're rapid fire thrown. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll give it a try. I'll give it a try.
Rob?
But nope, James, number 3, 5, whatever we're on.
Number 5. My number 5 is from 2002. It's from The Bourne Identity, and it's Jason Bourne versus, and the character's name is Castle, but it's basically Jason Bourne versus the first hitman that gets sent after him, or the first other Treadstone agent, because you see him beat up the cops and stuff in the bank, but this was the first Treadstone agent that gets sent after him, and he fights he like swings in, smashes in through the window. They start fighting, and it's the one where he actually takes out and starts beating his ass with a pen, and jams it in between his fingers. Oh man!
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think he hits him with a phone book at one point. Like, yeah, it is just whatever's in the room gets involved in that fight.
Ryan said,
"Oh yeah,
so refreshing for realistic."
Yeah.
There was some good stuff in I know the first one. I've watched the whole series, but the first one's what sticks in my head the most.
That sniper duel at the end with Clive Owen goes down as one of the best kind of like one-on-one duels outside of a traditional fight scene you'll see.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we know my number 5. It's Hulk versus Iron Man. Except Iron versus Hulk. I'll have to change that. So that puts us to number 4. Ryan.
The year was 2000, and Russell Crowe's Gladiator came out, which was pretty great all around. The fight I'm going to specifically go with is the Barbarian Horde fight. So he's been trained as a gladiator. He's in the Colosseum, and they throw him into combat for the first time, along with a number of other gladiators, where he's rigged to lose. And not only does he lead them in the fight, but he also takes command of the rest of them as like a ragtag group, being both a general and a guy riding a horse who cuts throats. And I am a big fan of all of that. It also leads into the best monologue of the movie. So for me, it checked all the boxes on I love that movie and that character and that scene.
Very, very good pick. We're going to go out of turn here, only because I'm going to do my number 4, which is from 2000, the movie Gladiator, and it is the battle between Maximus and Commodus at the end.
Ooh, nice. That is a good one.
I love the fact that Russell Crowe, you can see him dying, standing up, but yet his body kicks in and instinctively does what it's supposed to do. It's muscle memory. And he portrays it in acting so well. But like you said, all the battles in that, the battle against Tigris at the beginning, with the tigers.
Yeah, I will say, like, one of the things for me when it comes to a good fight is that a fight should tell a story. We should see the emotional change and understand all the beats and what's happening so we know where the changes in power are. Every fight in Gladiator is like a full scene unto itself with what's going on and how it affects like the world and progression. Very, very good stuff.
I watch that one constant rotation. Absolutely.
It's been a while for me, but I definitely need to get back to it.
Oh, and I think it ages really well. Like
it is still Joaquin Phoenix's best performance of his whole career. He's very good in other things, but I go back and I watch that and I'm like, God damn, it's got to feel weird to peak this early. Just like, here's my first big role. You will never forget how good I am in this.
Yeah.
I can't argue that. No, you're right. Okay, Jason, number 4.
My number 4. Going to, I don't know if you've heard of this one. 1988's They Live. The alley fight.
Sounds like a wrestler movie.
It was. But goddamn, isn't it not one of the most gritty and realistic brawls ever on film? Like, it just felt like they were kicking the crap out of each other.
That's because you had a wrestler in there doing some of it, and that's his job in life.
Yeah, well, it worked, and it still stands to this day. Like, that whole movie still just kicks ass, and that scene in particular just it gets me amped up when I watch it. I'm ready to start beating somebody.
And not only is it good as its own fight, it's even better when reenacted by Jimmy and Timmy on South Park, shot for shot when they duel.
I forgot about that. Yes.
Yeah, They Live was my honorable mention.
Oh yeah,
I only had 2, and that was one of them. But yeah, okay. I love that one. Okay, James, number 4.
My number 4 is again from 2002. It's the fight between Blade and Nomak. It's Blade 2.
That is a very good fight.
Both great martial artists going at each other, even under heavy makeup. It's just Nomak was for a while one of my favorite comic book villains.
And see, I forgot all about the Blade series, but yeah, there's a ton of good fights in those ones.
Yeah, and the treatment of Nomak is basically like an unstoppable and invincible force is really interesting to watch in a martial arts fight, where it's just like, oh, and he normally would lose, but this does not stop him and continue. Yeah. It's a real pleasure.
I gotta rewatch that.
That and the part where he's like, Blade dislocates his arm, and he's just like, and puts his arm back into place, and then beats him in the head with it.
Yeah, let's see Martin Riggs do that.
Riggs versus Blade would be a very short fight. I think we can all agree.
Yep.
Yeah.
Let's see who the king of dislocated shoulders is.
Yeah, hard cut to Riggs' funeral.
Yeah. Number 3, Ryan.
Number 3, I'm going back to 1997 for Face Off, specifically the penthouse shootout that leads into the mirror fight between John Travolta and Nicolas Cage. So Nicolas Cage is undercover. He's he is John Travolta with Nicolas Cage's face, but he's undercover with like a den of scumbags, and evil John Travolta shows up and basically orders an FBI raid. So it is just dozens upon dozens of armed FBI guys swinging in windows with a full John Woo shootout while a little boy listens to like a cover of that song from The Wizard of Oz. And it's followed up by a personal duel between the two of them where they have a monologue where they're talking at each other, but looking in the mirror so they're seeing the other guy's face and then just shoot. It's dope.
I forgot about that film.
Oh, I can't. It's my favorite movie ever.
Okay, Jason, you're freaking me out because you keep looking up, and it looks like you're looking up.
I'm
not wearing pants, and only he knows.
I'm Brady Bunching it.
He's like, really? Listen, really?
I'm just thinking, picturing it, because Face Off's another one that I have not watched in a long time.
I think I watched it 2 or 3 times when it came out, and then that was it.
I would argue Face Off is a perfect movie. To be clear, I cannot argue it is a good movie, but I can argue it is perfect because it is exactly what it intends to be.
Okay. And sometimes that's just what you need.
Yes.
Yeah. Don't ask for all the extra bells and whistles. Just have the fun.
Yeah.
Looks like you're going to be in jail for the next 100 years.
So good.
Jason, number 3.
My number 3, 2014. Going to go with the elevator fight from Captain America: Winter Soldier.
Nice.
Like you talk about, okay, the bathroom thing with Jet Li and the other guy in Unleashed. That's tight quarters, but you expound that with like 10 guys on one in an elevator. What they were able to do.
Easy peasy.
It's just, wow. How do you choreograph something in that tight of space, you know? I realize, okay, they probably didn't do it in like one whole run. Do you think? Do you think they could have choreographed that long of a scene?
Yes.
I've seen them do it like that before, yeah.
Okay.
They probably didn't shoot it that way, but they would have choreographed it that way because they would need to make sure that it makes sense the whole way through.
All right. Okay. But it just...
I'd be more terrified with the filming of it.
Kind of. Yeah, if you're that close with the camera.
Where do you put the camera in an elevator?
But to me, it's almost mesmerizing in how well choreographed it is in that tight space. Like, it's just to know that how close they knew they had to turn their arms and all that stuff, you know? Yeah, just it really, really stands out. And that's another one that I revisit a lot.
That is a great fight. I almost put that on my list, but some of these other ones just kind of jumped ahead. So, good pick. Very, very good pick. James, number 3.
All right, my number 3 from 2011. It's from the original Raid Redemption, and you might as well throw up the spoiler thing.
What? Why? You wouldn't do that, would you?
Just for one reason, because you have like two of the main bad guys' henchmen. You have Mad Dog and you have Andy, and Andy ends up being Rama's brother. So by the end of the movie, before they go after the big boss, you have Rama finding his brother, teaming up against Mad Dog, and so it takes 2 guys to beat up Mad Dog, and they still almost lose because of how good a fighter Mad Dog is, who ends up showing up in the Raid 2, but as a different character. Because in this one, he gets like this, I don't know if it's like a halogen bulb, like the fluorescent bulb tubes broken, jammed into his neck and pulled all the way across. And you still think he might come back and beat them.
It's a flesh wound. Well, you said it was Rama and who?
Andy, his brother. The character's name is Andy.
Gotcha. Okay. I just want to make sure I got it written out right.
Right.
I know there's graphical or spelling mistakes in some of this because I'm just doing it phonetically. But good pick. My number 1 goes back to 87, and I'm just going to do a quick one. Is that the oldest?
Do you mean number 3, or are you going to number 1?
Oh, number 3. Did I say number 1?
You said number 1. Just figured I'd check.
Number 3 on my list, number 1 in my heart.
Which is weird because it's your list.
Yeah, actually it is. I am a huge fan of a comic book called The Badger. and there were rumors of an actor playing Norbert Sykes, the Badger, and it was this guy, and they based it off of this movie's fight scene at the final end. It's Mr. Joshua versus Martin Riggs.
I knew you were going to say that.
Yes. They were in talks with Mel Gibson to play this comic book character, the Badger, which fell through because at that time not a lot were being made. But that final fight scene is just wicked. Watching those two scrap it out in the front lawn while the water is going everywhere. And
another shot at the title.
Yeah, it's good to see Gary Busey in that kind of a scene.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, Gary Busey did do a little bit more action back then.
Yeah, pre the car accident, he probably would have been huge in like a legit actory kind of way because he was super interesting looking. He could be creepy as hell, and he had some real dramatic chops.
Oh yeah, I loved him in Predator 2.
Yes,
to me that's an underrated. I love it, but
I'm sure it probably doesn't hold up. But I remember actually being pretty fond of a straight to video action flick that Busey did called Bulletproof. I don't remember much of it other than him booby trapping like this. I think he was down in like a rock quarry or something, and there was a gang coming to get him, and he set up booby traps. And at one point, he decapitates a couple guys on motorbikes, kind of thing.
It can't be that good, Jason, or it would have been on your list.
Well, it's been a very long time, but I feel like that was one that I did watch pretty repeatedly for a few years when I was younger.
Listen, if we're saying top Gary Busey action movies, I think we all agree it makes the list.
Sure. Yes.
There we go. I love it. Okay, number 2, Ryan.
1999's The Matrix, the subway fight between Neo and Mr. Smith. Where,
nice.
Where it's the phone call is there. He manages to get Trinity out, and then the phone gets shot out of his hand. And it's Neo's first time to believe that he might actually be able to beat an agent. And it is great. They do a little of the bullet time out of the beginning, and then it just becomes a knockout kind of kung fu brawl. It's the best that those movies may ever have been. It's a delight. It's brutal. It's really creative with the choreo and the way it's shot. It's an unstoppable force meets an immovable object, and it really pushes the narrative in a cool way.
And that film at that point was just like groundbreaking, you know.
Oh yeah,
shot it. Just the story concept alone, and then you throw all this amazing martial arts into it. You know, him and Samuel Jackson Lawrence Fishburne. I get those two confused. I had to do that. Come on.
Can we put up a problematic screen cover? Problematic. It's the same thing as spoilers.
Holy.
Have
you seen the interview where somebody does that live?
That's exactly what I was referring to, honestly.
It's my favorite.
Sam Jackson wore a shirt after that saying, "I am not Lawrence."
Mm-hmm.
So, sorry, I couldn't.
That's exactly what I was thinking of when you said it.
Yep.
Majestic.
But yeah, when they're in that white room and they're downloading the information and learning it like in real time, that was so cool. So cool.
From the subway fight, the one part I remember the most is when he gets right up to his chin and then he flicks his fingers out and catches him in the throat a little bit.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen, but somebody actually went through a couple of weeks ago because my friends and I get obsessed with these, and they re-edited that scene. So it's just every time Neo throws a punch, it becomes that throat chop. So it's just dodge, throat flick, throat flick, spin around kick, throat flick. Like it's just over and over again.
Well, that'd be fun. All right, Jason, what do you got for number 2?
My number 2, from 2003, going with The Hallway Fight from the original Old Boy.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
It's like watching the Terminator, kind of, because he just keeps going and keeps going. It doesn't matter if he's been stabbed a couple times. He just keeps going, and he just keeps swinging that damn hammer.
I can't argue that one. Nothing.
and that's one that is so brutal to watch. Like you actually like, oh no, come on.
To me, that's the sign of a good fight scene is when you feel the punishment that's being inflicted on somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why my number one is what it is, and you'll see exactly when I tell you. Like that's
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. That one is the same thing, especially with a hammer.
Mm-hmm.
All right, James, number 2.
My number 2 is from 2001. It's from Brotherhood of the Wolf, and it's the final scene: Gregoire de Fronsac versus Jean-Francois. And thus far in the movie, you had only seen Gregoire de Fronsac's friend, played by Mark Dacascos, who played Manny. You thought he was the badass fighter in the show. In the movie, it had unless you had seen a deleted scene where you see Samuel Le Bon, who plays Gregoire de Fronsac. You actually saw him bust out a big bow staff and beat some people up. But in the regular movie, that isn't in there. So you get to the end of the movie, and all of a sudden, he tosses off his coat and pulls out these 2 swords that have little things, spins them towards the camera, and then you have Jean-Francois, played by Vincent Cassel, who pulls out this big, long, segmented sword that can separate into a whip and then reassemble back into a big bone sword. It's just an amazing fight.
That sounds cool, actually.
I highly recommend Brotherhood of the Wolf.
To imply that, you usually pick crappy stuff. I meant that sounds really good.
I'm a big Dacascos fan, and I never did watch that movie.
And, Monica Bellucci naked. So if that's a bonus.
So, all right.
Hit that the more you know again.
Brilliant, Ryan.
Listen, we're here to educate the people, so
That's right. That's right. Education is important. Okay, number 1, Ryan.
Oh, number 1. I am gonna have to go with all of the Raid Redemption. Just the whole movie. We can pretend that there are breaks between the fight scenes in the Raid Redemption, but really it's not. They just catch their breath. Because I went back and I was reviewing that movie, and I love the fight at the end. There are 2 different hallway fights that are both amazing. Where the captain of the unit fights and dies is incredible. The whole thing is a series of fights on fights on fights on fights. They're all masterclasses in choreography, and they do something that is so rarely done that I see in terms of kind of more martial arts focused movies. There's no danciness about it. It's not prettily choreographed. It's not like done to show off the skills of the people in it. It is the most brutal, exhausting, violent, 110% every take fights. So much so that I, as like a shitty, low budget filmmaker, I'm like, God, I wouldn't want to make that movie. Everyone would be so tired, but it is incredible, and it is a tour de force of what kind of action movies can be. So good.
I realize that I am on the obese side of things, but I get winded watching that movie.
Yeah.
I do. I get winded.
I mean, it's a movie that's so strong that it got a wide theatrical release with subtitles. Because you cannot remake it. Like, you can't take it successful there and be like, we'll do it in Hollywood. No. Fuck you. Don't even put subtitles on it. Just put it in a theater and I will give you money.
A lot of people say they kind of did with Dread.
Yes.
But I think there's enough differences, but you can kind of forgive that. They both stand alone as really great ultra-violent flicks.
And I think, having looked it up, they were both being shot around the same time, so it wasn't one copying the other. Like, they were both in production.
It's a coincidence.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
It's like the different studios doing Robin Hood and the undersea movies and.
Okay.
But yeah, I like, they're both different and both fun. If you're only going to see one of them, though, holy shit, watch The Raid.
Yeah.
Very, very good. Let me see. Jason, we know yours. The church fight.
Just like the bad guy says over the loudspeaker. It's like, and most importantly, have fun.
Yes.
And I didn't.
Now, Rob, just with the church fight in Kingsman, when you talk about a fight scene and it makes you feel some of it, you can't tell me nobody's ever watched that and don't cringe when they see the pastor getting his neck broken against his pulpit.
Yep. I cringed when I watched it. Like, you're right. You feel it.
Mm-hmm.
The guy getting kicked up into the organ. There's a lot of stuff there that you just really feel. Knife in the eye through a book. There's a lot.
What's this one?
Kingsman, the first Kingsman, the church fight.
Oh, okay.
And then James, yours was the kitchen fight in Raid 2.
Yeah.
And okay, that leaves me. And this one, like I said, this is one that I still feel like I watch. It's from 1993, and you knew it had to be on my list.
Steven Seagal versus Tommy Lee Jones.
I'm sorry, was that an actual movie?
Under Siege.
Yeah. No, this is Virgil versus Alabama. It's from True Romance.
Ooh.
And the stuff that goes on in that fight. She stabs him in the foot with a corkscrew.
Oh, the corkscrew. Oh.
He hits him in the head with the back of the toilet. Then she fries his face with the hairspray and lighter. Like, it just, everything in that thing. And he just kicks the crap out of her.
Oh, yeah. James Gandolfini.
Yes.
Yes. That is a brutal scene.
There are just a few movies where I watch it and I still kind of go, oh, that's ouch. That's too much, and this is one of those films where it's that right on the edge, right on the edge.
Yeah.
So good. And it's bothered me that the director's cut, the regular theatrical cut trimmed that right down.
I thankfully have never seen the theatrical cut. So
good. Well, basically they do most of the fight. There's some stuff cut out of it. And then at the very end, when she's on top of him, she points the gun at his face and fires and they cut it.
Oh.
And you don't get to see the rest of what she does.
You don't get to see her. They're like, ah!
Yep.
I don't know. That's a great capper to the scene.
Ryan thought Rob's would be Anakin versus Obi-Wan. Dude, you missed my number 10. It was Qui-Gon Obi-Wan versus Darth Maul. So it's close. But Anakin versus Obi-Wan, Revenge of the Sith. That was a pretty good one too.
Yeah, it was too kind of hoppy and devoid of gravity for me. It was like a half hour, and a lot of fighting long isn't the same as fighting good.
They had a couple good spots, like when they both used force push and blew each other back. That was cool, But yeah, there was a lot of hopping and a lot of it's like just stay on the ground, and swing your sword, dude. That's all we want to see.
I need to be able to understand who's winning. And if you're both doing backflips over a CGI landscape, I don't know what's happening.
Yeah. Are you winning, Obi? What's going on? But it was still fun to watch.
Oh, absolutely.
Alrighty. That was a great list.
Yeah.
Any honorable mentions anybody want to throw out?
I've got 4 that I can blow through pretty quick. 2013 Snowpiercer. There's the axe fight in the middle of the train, where like the one side covers their axes in fish guts for some reason, and then they fight through like New Year. It's so violent and delightful. Princess Brides in 1987, the famous sword fight where they are both kind of very classily having their conversations and then switch hands.
But what you don't know is I'm not left-handed.
So good. 95's Rob Roy, the final duel at the end with Liam Neeson and from
Tim Roth.
Yeah, thank you, Tim Roth. That's one of the most brutal matches you could see. Just Tim Roth with a rapier fighting and just taking Liam Neeson apart, who's wielding a broadsword. It really plays ugly. And then the last one was 2014 John Wick's nightclub scene.
Nice.
Where the pools turn into the nightclub. It's awesome.
Okay, that's a good one. Like I said, I don't mind this one. It's got some good fight scenes. Jason?
I've just got a couple that haven't come up here. I'm going to go with the final matchup fight in Warrior, where Tom Hardy takes on
Joel Edgerton.
Joel Edgerton.
Yeah,
when the brothers face off.
That guy who's in movies sometimes.
Yep.
It's such an emotional scene, but it's also so well done. It really gives you that grit factor of watching a real MMA fight. And the movie Unleashed, I don't know what year, but the first
2005.
2005? Yeah, Upgrade.
Oh, Upgrade.
Sorry,
Unleashed.
Oh yeah, sorry. I meant Upgrade. It was a Netflix original film. It's the first scene because this guy had died, but he has a computer put into his neck that's controlling his body. This guy's attacking him in this apartment.
It's 2018,
and the AI is doing all the fighting, and all he's just talking, and he can't even move his neck. So when the opponent goes to like punch him or something, the AI makes his hand come up and turn the head out of the way. Like, it is such interesting fight choreography because the guy can't move his neck.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It's the AI is considering that when it's doing fighting this guy off.
I might have to actually watch that one.
It was a good flick. I enjoyed that one.
7
that scene
on IMDb, that's good.
That first fight scene, like you still get more of that later in the film, but that first scene when
they nail it in the first scene. The rest of it is kind of up and down in fights, but that first one is chef's kiss whole way through. I completely agree.
Is it in the hallway?
No.
Dang.
No,
it's in an apartment after he goes through a hallway, so it's hallway adjacent.
There we go. Close to one.
See, and it didn't make my top 10 list, so it was only hallway adjacent.
That's why. That's why my honorable mention didn't make it too, because mine's outside, and it's the opening fight with Deadpool.
Okay.
No. That's just a blast.
Nice.
Corinthian leather, like just all the little tips and everything. It's just so Deadpool.
You're probably thinking, why did I just shish kebab that guy?
Yes, it's not a date movie. Awesome. Well, Ryan, thanks so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me back.
Yes.
Oh,
Thank you, sir.
Great pick for a list. So I'm eagerly anticipating the next thing you contact us about, because the topics get better and better.
Yeah.
I'll have to think about it. I will.
Awesome.
But I'll come up with something because I've got nothing better to do. It's a pandemic.
Other than 5 podcasts and,
Oh, yeah. As I said, workaholic. Don't sleep.
There we go. So what platform are you on for your podcast? Like, where can people find them?
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the above. If I was going to suggest one, I've got the shirt on, Dum Dums and Dragons.
There we go.
It's a bunch of improvisers and comedians play Dungeons and Dragons for the very first time. It's like Lord of the Rings, if everyone was an idiot. And we just we just moved past 500,000 listens on that show alone this week. So
nice.
There's stuff there for people who want to deep dive, and it's super accessible for people who don't know anything about D&D, because I didn't.
That's beautiful. I love stuff like that. Well, man, thank you again. And I don't know where Jason went. Apparently he scared him with D&D or something. I don't know.
Well, he did the Irish goodbye and just left.
Yep. Say yep. Alrighty. I guess it's gonna mess up our thing for another week at the Movie Madhouse. I'm Rob.
I'm James.
And I'm Ryan.
Jason.
Yay! Puppet.
We'll see you guys later.
Doodles.
I say shut up! It's a man!